Good evening and welcome to the Brookfield Zoning Commission regular meeting. Today is June 8th, 2023 at 7 p.m. This meeting is being held in Town Hall Room number 133. If you would all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I would please ask the commissioners to introduce themselves, starting from my far left.
Kurt Timmerman, alternate.
Gerald Pratt, regular member.
Andrew Kame, secretary.
Gary Getz, chairman.
Chandra Kumar, vice chairman.
Phoebe Holmes, regular member.
Mike Lucia, alternate.
Gwen Arnett, alternate.
Thank you all. Also at this time, I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome our new land use director, Laura Barkowski, who started on Monday. Welcome. Thank you for being here this evening. Okay, the next item on the agenda, number 2, is continued public hearings, of which there are none. We'll move on to number 3, public hearings. Likewise, there are none. Item number 4 is the review of the minutes of our previous meeting on May 25th, 2023. Does anyone have any questions or comments related to those minutes? Hearing none, at this time the chair would entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that, I move that the minutes be accepted as submitted.
Mr. Kame has made a motion to accept the minutes of May 25th. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Komar has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll call the order. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Are there any abstentions? The motion carries. Next item, number 5, enforcement. Mr. Fran Lally.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Welcome.
47 High Ridge Road, the Salas property. I met the town attorney up there on Tuesday. We did a walkthrough of the property. I am in the process of doing an outline remediation report as to what we're going to look for the courts, obviously for the zoning enforcement officers, from my standpoint, and for the blight panel. But that's still in process. So we did do a walkthrough. The property owners allowed us on the property. There were certain places where I could and couldn't take pictures due to the extent of issues there. But I am working on that with Attorney Kokinos. So I'll have another update prior to the next meeting, and we'll move from there. So need to report to the blight panel too as to what we're going to look for remediation up there. There's just so much stuff. I don't know really where to start. So that's work in progress. 202 Candlewood Lake Road at Danbury, Slovak Gymnastic Union. Sent the notice of violation on the 18th to the property. Obviously, the commission knows it was appealed to the ZBA. We had a hearing this past Monday night for 2 hours. The commission at this time did not render a decision. By the time we got out of there, it was at midnight and everyone was exhausted, so we decided to have a special meeting. The public hearing's closed. We're going to be doing a special meeting this coming Monday. There's a few other cases that needed to be closed or voted on, so that's continued. So I'll have another update the next meeting. So 44 Silvermine Road, the Oliveira residence, the poultry. He's got the roosters and the chickens over here. He started removing them, then he stopped. The neighbor called me, so I reissued a notice of violation. Give him to the 15th to get him out of there, otherwise I will go to a cease and desist order. Move on from there. 198 Candlewood Lake Road, Berserker residence. The residents from 202 reported a vehicle and sent a picture of his vehicle parked on the grass down by the water. Since the complaint came in with pictures, I sent to Mr. Berserker a notice of violation indicating that can't keep the vehicles on the lawn, and sent them a notice of violation requesting compliance. So I have not heard back on that. So Moving on to 31 Green Knoll Drive, the McGovern residence. The property owner, obviously, the commission knows he lost the hearing, paid the $750 fine. I did speak to Attorney Marcus on 6/2/23. He indicated to me that he'd be coming into the office and he's working with a remediation plan or a planting plan on the property. I have not seen anything yet, but I did speak to Attorney Marcus on the 2nd regarding this. So as of right now, I haven't seen anything, but I don't know how the commission wants to move forward on it or reach out to Attorney.
May I ask a
Mr.
question?
Chairman, yes, sir. Yep.
Attorney Marcus indicated that they're working with a remediation specialist. Did they give a date when they plan on being ready to move on this? Because we're coming up on a year since we cited them initially.
He did not give me a date as to when. He did indicate that he would be coming in and meeting with myself and new land use director and with a plan in place.
At some point, but no,
No affirmative date at this time. I can follow up with Attorney Marcus and try to get a better handle on it, or
well, thank you. I would just throw it open to the other commissioners, but I think that at this point, speaking only for myself, that we've exhausted all patience and reasonability here, and it seems like we're not getting anywhere. And one of our key concerns was the aquifer protection, and if this waste that is questionable is still sitting there, there could be untold damage happening. So I kind of think it's an important thing, but I certainly seek the opinions of my colleagues here.
Mr.
Yes,
Chairman,
Mr. Kane.
I agree with you with the premise of your comments, and I think that one of the things we talked about at the last meeting was the addition of additional fines, and that's been discussed with, and we're following up with the land use director on the changing the fine that has been changed, in my understanding, it was all along $150 per day. However, it was never uploaded to a product called E-code or some electronic type of record-keeping system that we have. So I believe that it has been done or is in the process of being done. At that point, the fine would be $150 a day. And I think at the last meeting, we talked about considering revisiting the property and instituting a fine if there's been no movement toward a resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Kane. Anyone else?
I agree with that, all of that. I think we need to move on this sooner rather than later.
And if I may, I would just throw out a question. Don't we have other tools and options at our disposal, other legal recourse? Can't we go to the courts when we have a person who's been cited and ordered to remediate and is basically doing nothing?
I do believe previous land use director was working on that. Where that was left off, I do not know, but I can follow up with that first thing in the morning tomorrow.
Maybe we should inquire with the town attorney, Ms. Schellenberg?
Schellenberg, yes.
All right, thank you.
And how about the
Ms.
fines? Has that been instated now? Is that on our regs? Is it
Well, as Mr. Kane was saying, it's still to be resolved,
still
but
to be resolved?
My understanding is, and I haven't had an opportunity to meet with our new land use director, and this is her first week here, and I know she has multiple pages of notes, and that is one of the items on the list. And in my understanding is that the verbiage was corrected as far back as 2001, but it somehow never transitioned onto the books to say per day in lieu of period. It was questioned by the previous group a bunch of years ago with the previous town attorneys, and apparently their follow-up was not as rigorous as the current group of folks. And so it's been passed. The ordinance has been updated. It was just never published is the issue. And so we'd obviously like to have it published yesterday, if not immediately, if not sooner. So that's where we're at with it.
How does that get done?
I believe it's been tasked to, and I'm not sure exactly who's handling it, but I believe it was tasked to the administrative assistant of the first selectwoman. And I called her today, but she was off on a personal matter today, so it's on my follow-up list. He's aware of it, and I left my phone number for a call back. So
Okay.
I think it's priority one for everybody at this table. So
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Kane. Commissioners? Anyone else? If not, please proceed there, Mr. Lally.
Sure. On the citation list, the 89 Wiskineer Road, the Doan residence, with the contractor's yard, there's been no update yet from the court, still waiting on the judge to rule on that decision. As is 35 Hidden Brook Drive, the Torres residence, that's also, there's no current update on that. That was referred to the town attorney due to the building violation along with the zoning violation. So that's something I'll follow up on too. And that is it at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Lally. Anyone else have any questions of Mr. Lally at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item, number 6. Review correspondence. Notice of application for text amendment, Town of Newtown. I think in our packets we received that. I think that's just informational and a courtesy at this point. We don't need to act on it other than for information. Is that correct, Mr. Lally?
Yes, sir.
So unless anyone has any questions or comments about it, we can move on from that. Next item, number 7, old business. There being none, we will move on to number 8, new business. Item A is an alpha, 5 Obtuse Hill Road, Z-22-67. Deacon Lewis Howe of St. Joseph Church, 163 Wiskineer Road, Brookfield, Connecticut. Site plan modification to replace tent with a 24 by 40 outdoor pavilion. Is the applicant here? Would you like to rise and come to the podium, state your name and address, please, for the record?
Andrew Pasek, I'm at 5 Dairy Farm Drive, and I'm a parishioner of St. Joseph's Church in Brookfield.
Please spell your last name.
P is in Peter, A-C-U-K.
Thank you.
Is Deacon Lewis Howe here?
No,
Okay,
but he could be on the phone.
okay.
You want him on the phone?
No, I was just asking, as he's the applicant here, but did you want to make any statement or give us any information other than what's on the application at this time?
It's pretty simple. We've been patiently working to get this pavilion erected on the campus in St. Joe's. We replaced this tent that we've used for the last 3 years for social gatherings and other events at the church. We've relocated the pavilion to go into an area that is not in the historic district. Town has signed off on most of the things, sanitary, fire, all those kind of things. And we are just looking to see if we can get it approved so we can go forward. We've been working on this for about months.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have any questions of the applicant?
yes, I do.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want?
Is this in the same location you previously had like a shed or something like that?
No.
I remember some time ago you came in front of either the ZBA or zoning regarding something in that very location.
Actually, we came here first for another location, and we're told we needed to go to the historic.
Yeah, I was thinking years ago, because I
Oh,
saw
I
that.
don't know, years ago, I can
Oh,
remember
right.
9 months ago.
Yeah. All right, that's all.
Yeah, I had 2 questions. I have 2 nice photographs here of beautiful buildings. And we do not have we do not have a pool, right?
No.
Is that another application?
Pool.
Actually, those were representative of.
Okay, all right. We're just checking.
Baptismal font.
And is there any electrical with this?
There will be electrical, yes.
Okay. And so it's going to look more like this, sort of?
That's the one in Richfield, it's similar to that scope and size.
Okay.
But it won't be white, it'll be natural wood, and then in a year, because it'll be pressure treated, we have to address for a year, then we'll,
Okay.
stay.
So if I may, Mr. Pratt, please go ahead.
You said you're gonna have electrical there, but what, do you have power outlets? Do you just, or just
Yeah,
lighting? or-
There's a building right next to that.
Yeah.
That has power in it, and it's off of a parking lot that has power in it. So it's it's all scoped out and planned to hook up to that. What we call a barn, other people call a big shed.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's just for lights, for overhead fans, and for TV. We'll be able to show movies and stuff.
Any other questions? If I may, so just to ask the obvious, these are just for illustrative purposes?
Correct.
This is
The
not
drawing is
a representation?
The drawing that was provided is accurate, but they don't have an exact,
Is there a drawing in the application?
there was, we sent that.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was.
I see a plot plan, but I don't see a drawing of the structure.
There was another
Maybe in the original application file.
Yeah,
Mr.
why?
Chairman.
Okay.
From the barnyard, I believe.
Yes, it's in the barnyard, it shows the certification for, building worthiness and stuff like that, it's stamped by. Do you have it?
It's in the file, I know they have it, it's in the
Okay.
warrants file.
So that's the accurate shape of the building, and,
So if I may just clarify, sir, you're buying an assembled structure and just having it delivered is,
it's not gonna be assembled, it'll be assembled on site.
okay, but it's not being stick-built, it's,
No.
okay.
Oh, thank you.
Anybody else want a copy? Kill trees.
Sorry, we can share.
Thank you for that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Could you just state what the height is?
I think the height at the peak is about 12.5 feet.
Okay, thank you.
application says 10 foot 9.
15,
Oh, no, I'm guessing.
it's 15.2 feet.
Yeah, and very
Yeah, that's a good roof. Good.
Any other commissioners have any questions at this time? Hearing none? Is there any interest by the commission to make a motion at this time?
Mr. Chairman, if it pleases the commission, I would make a motion to approve application Z-22-67 for the St. Joseph Church, 163 Wisconsin Road, Brookfield, Connecticut, site plan modification to replace tent with 24 by 40 outdoor pavilion. Period.
Thank you, Mr. Kame. Mr. Kame has made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Holmes seconds the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Are there any abstentions? The motion passes and the application is approved.
Good luck to you.
Well,
Next item under new business is B, draft regulation change, cannabis sales and distribution. Mr. Kame, did you have anything you wanted to update us
Yes, I
regarding that?
did. I was hoping to have a package to hand out tonight. I have gone through the regulations and produced a draft. However, when I went back to read it, there's many conflicting paragraphs that I need to go through a second time again. And then I would also like to give a copy and have a discussion with our new land use coordinator on this. Director, I'm sorry. We're at the stage where very shortly, I believe, we would be able to present a package to the commission. It does have to be put into Brookfield's format, for want of a better term, that we have all our zoning applications in. And that would be a draft, and then I would submit it to the commission, and we would discuss it and amongst ourselves and, see what we like and what we don't like and where we go from there. But I'd prefer to have it in a somewhat of a format so that we could easily make changes or additions or deletions to it and hopefully make it a little less wordy than it is now. But there are a lot of considerations here concerning different types of facilities, and I certainly would like to run it by our land use director and possibly through our attorneys to see that, you know, if we're basically okay with the format of it. And then at that point, I think we would be able to discuss it intelligently as a zoning board. And again, this process is being done at this level because it's much easier and cheaper for us to do it than to do it through a town referendum.
Yes.
Well, of course, we will, whatever the end results will be, we would have to have public hearings and,
Right.
you know, the usual zoning change format.
Thank you, Mr. Kane. Do any commissioners have any questions about the issue Mr. Kane
Mr.
updated on?
Chairman.
Mr. Timmerman?
I can offer to put it on that format. I have the format of the application. So when you get your verbiage done, I can just plop it in or give you the format.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Timmerman, and likewise, Mr. Kane, thank you for your efforts. It's because of citizens like you two that we are making such great strides in town and saving money without being non-transparent. We're open and people get to see what we're doing, but we're also mindful of what things cost.
Well, thank you. I sense more work coming.
Keep up the good work. The next item, number 9, tabled items, revision of zoning fee schedule. It's tasked to the land use director, but I don't think at this time we have an update, given that we have a new land use director as of Monday, who we had the distinct privilege of introducing just a little while ago. So that will continue to table, and at some point we'll talk.
It is on my radar, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. At this time, did you want to say anything, since the land use director was alluded to? I don't know, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you have anything you feel like saying?
I'd be more than happy to introduce myself. My name is Laura Barkowski. I'm actually originally from Brookfield. I went to school here from 3rd grade through high school. Then I left, I moved away. I have a bachelor's in justice and law administration. Went to Monroe, Connecticut, worked there for several years, went to Simsbury, and now you're lucky enough to have me here with you. I'm happy to be home.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, number 10, commissioner comments and informed discussion. I believe Mr. Lally would like to talk about a determination of commercial vehicles.
Correct.
Mr. Lally,
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Okay, on May 12th, 2023 this year, I received a complaint, obviously regarding the VFW and the Army vehicle that's parked out in front. In doing some research through different agencies here and then through the Department of Motor Vehicles, I was able to obtain the license plate number, where in turn I ran it through the Department of Motor Vehicles, and it comes up as an antique vehicle on a residential lot. When I tried to run it through the license plate as a commercial vehicle, I got the registration not found, please check your information, you entered again. Question was raised whether that is considered a commercial vehicle. In my eyes, it's not. Enforcement is discretionary. I mean, I acted not to enforce on it, but I just wanted to get the opinion of the commission if you feel that a vehicle like that is actually considered a commercial vehicle, or because it's registered as an antique, does that warrant as a commercial or antique vehicle? I know we go by gross vehicle weight. I have no idea what the gross vehicle weight is. Again, there's no writing on the vehicle, there's no advertising on the vehicle, it's just parked in a residential property. So I just want to get the commission's opinion. That's really basically it.
Thank you, Mr. Lally. Anyone have any? Mr. Timmerman?
I've driven by it and, you know, it looks like art, you know. I wouldn't call it commercial, you know, it's sort of like we're the VFW, we're here, this represents us, so I wouldn't ding them on being a commercial vehicle.
Totally agree. It's not a vehicle that go in and out every day. That would consider a high traffic and commercial. This is just an antique. No difference on having a water fountain out there. I mean,
I agree. It may not be a commercial vehicle since it's registered as an antique vehicle. However, it is a 2.5-ton truck, deuce and a half. That's what they're called, I believe. And my question would be, what are the storage requirements for vehicles? Not just for this particular homeowner, landowner, but around the town you see many vehicles, some registered, some not registered, some RVs, not RVs, some boats, unregistered, registered, and what are the storage requirements would be my issue with that. Is it required to be stored in a garage? I think it is registered, so I believe it can be stored in the driveway. Is that, if that's in fact where it's parked in the driveway, I don't see that we have an issue. If it's parked somewhere other than the driveway, we may have an issue. I'm not an expert on vehicle placement.
Yeah.
But again, I know
I think
that,
it's on the lawn,
well,
like art,
okay.
like a statue or something. I think
Well,
it's not on the driveway.
I know you can have vehicles in your driveway as long as they're registered, so I don't see a problem there. Whether they're registered as an antique or whether they're registered as a passenger vehicle or commercial vehicle, I don't know. But I believe it has to be kept in your driveway. I believe boats can be kept to the side of your house if it's in some sort of enclosure. But again, I'm not an expert there. I think the placement is the real issue, not necessarily the registration.
Mr. Timmerman?
Point, for clarification, we do have regs for residential zones, section 3.11, commercial vehicle parking in residential zones. So it goes through all the requirements, you know, the weights and everything else. And then, separate from that, we have outdoor vehicle storage, in Article 6. It would be, well, I guess it would be 6.1, parking and everything. So I'm not gonna state it. And then 6.1B, outdoor vehicle storage for trailers, coaches, campers, commercial trucks, and storage trailers. So this is any zone, and then the residential zone has a specific rule on that. And even the commercial zones do too. You can't park in your front if you have.
How'd you find that so fast?
Well, I already knew about it.
You just, okay, it's Article 6.B. Okay, I'm looking for it, but
What page would that be?
where,
120?
Well, yeah, it was around page 57 at the, my ref.
Oh, 57?
Every book's.
That's 3.11.
Oh, gosh,
And the
every
other one
book's
is
different.
around page 124.
So I guess my question would be, are they okay if they're parking in the driveway?
You can only, you know, for example, it's the idea of someone who works and has their company vehicle with them. If it's not a big vehicle over a certain weight, yes, they can have that one vehicle that they use for work. But beyond that, what we want to try to do is keep contractors from parking all their equipment at their place. And that's why we have the regulation. Just one, we understand, you know, you have to have your vehicle to go back and forth to work. And it can't be gigantic. So that's the idea of the regulation for residential zones.
But if I may, in this case, if we're going with it being an antique, then it's not a commercial
don't think it
vehicle, right?
applies,
So
yeah.
it doesn't apply.
And even, you know, being an antique, but it's more of an art installation, you know, whether it's on the driveway or on the grass.
More of a sign maybe than anything else.
Yeah. And that's what it's sort of functioning as.
And then as Mr. Kame indicated, as long as it's parked in the designated parking space and not on the lawn, then perhaps there's no issue. And I think that's what Mr. Lally was kind of looking to us for some guidance on. Do you happen to know if it's on the lawn or in a parking space?
I believe it's in a parking place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last time I seen it, I haven't driven by there, but I've noticed it, but, yeah, but last I knew it was in a parking place.
I don't think it moves. I think it's just set there. That's, I don't know if it's the exact same truck, but there was a similar thing up on Route 25.
That's the same vehicle.
It's the
Oh,
same
is it?
vehicle.
It used to be at 222 or around there.
Yeah.
It's been there for a long time. It was parked in someone's yard. So.
Yeah.
On the front lawn.
Well, I don't know if
Yeah.
it was on the front lawn.
Yeah, it was on the front lawn.
I go by it every day.
West Main Road.
Don't even pay attention.
I wouldn't enforce it, but that's just my opinion. I think it looks like art. I think it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's in a parking space.
It's a symbol.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to be clear, I don't think there is any enforcement action if it's parked, if it's registered as an antique and it's parked in the driveway. I don't think do we have an issue? I don't see one on the face of it.
Thank you, Mr. Lally.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That brings us to item number 11, adjournment. I would just say that our next regular meeting is June 22nd, and to remind everyone that In July and August, we only meet once each month, and that'll be on the fourth Thursday, so we're gonna have a little lighter meeting schedule for the next 2 months after this one. However, at this time, the chair is more than happy to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I just had a question regarding these notices that we've been given.
Oh, yes, please.
Is there any comment on that, or do we need to take any kind of action on this, or is this just an FYI situation?
Oh, you know, this is, you know, last week when we had that executive session, and she referenced, you know, the information she sent, I don't think she sent the actual, decision.
Okay.
And it was 26 pages long, so if that's the one that's 26 pages,
Yes, that's the one.
yeah, then it's
Okay.
interesting.
Just follow up.
And then there's another one too, right? You're talking about this?
Sokol.
Yeah,
Are they both Sokol?
so, this must be the new one.
Well, if I may, this was included with our stuff for this evening. The case of Jason D. Lewis versus the zoning commission of the town of Brookfield. And my only, I guess, question would be, I thought the applicant was the Danbury Slovak Gymnastic Union. And yet, it seems that this other party is being listed as the one who's the injured party appealing from a decision of the zoning commission and is claiming to be the applicant on one page, and then on, I believe, the fourth page is saying that they are the owners of the property. So I'm a little confused by that. But I guess that's something the legal process will figure out. Yes, Mr. Kane?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to, you know, obviously, this is a pending case, so I'm not sure what impact we can have on this at this time, because it's pending in, I guess, Superior Court, Danbury, so that was my only comment. It's a pending matter.
Okay. Any other comments? At this time, the chair will revisit the idea of making a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Kames made a motion. Do we have a second? Mr. Pratt seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Try to stay out of the fog.
Nice easy.